Please, group 4.
Good evening, guys. So we are group 4. Are you ready to be amazed? We have great things for you. So basically we are 5. Emer unfortunately is not here. So we are Irvine, Anika, Marc, and Mohammed. So we are a great group, and Emer. So she made a video for you.
Good evening. I'm Emer from Ireland, and I'm delighted to be with you for this evening in our presentation on our crisis. We're a very diverse group. We represent 3 continents, Africa, Asia, and Europe, and together we're about 132 years young. So let me just introduce what we did when we started looking at the financial crisis. We went right back to the beginning, before there was a European Union, and we found a Europe that had been decimated by war. 60 million people had died, and there was physical destruction everywhere. In that Europe, my father went to school without shoes, and Anika's grandparents had their lives traumatized by war. So what did we learn from that look at Europe then? We learned that we as a group became passionate about the idea of the European Union and continued unity. And the second thing we learned was that Europe could not afford to have another lost generation, that it must do everything it can to intervene in the financial crisis to provide lives and jobs for the young people of Europe today.
So what Emer said is we looked into history, and what we did was we mapped the financial crisis of 2008 to get a little overview of the EU crisis. You can see it here, and I want to show you the main thing we found out, because it was that you can prevent a crisis from happening, but you can only build anti-fragility in order to make yourself stronger for the next crisis that comes. And the best possible way to do it is to create unity. And you all know this little quote we heard in the speech. It was from Martin Schulz. And this leads us directly to our next member of our speech, the cow. You're asking, why a cow? We found out that, or the European Commission published that a cow in Europe is spent more money on than an unemployed young person. So what we did, we started off by investigating into the youth unemployment crisis, and we mapped it. So you can see it here. And on the left side of this big map, you can see that it's influenced by circuits that drive it into spiral it into long-term recession. And on the right side, the red things are things we came up with, interventions that we would like to start as to reduce the crisis. What is very important for it, is a rollout plan. So it has to be very fast done before the elections of 2014. And also there has to be a plan. And we came up with ideas. We said we need a visualization by, for example, Manuel Lima, who could provide a very good, very approachable way of showing the things. And also we need stars who kind of are into the business. So we just picked out Ronaldo because he's
We can take Marc too.
And so I would like to give over to Marc, and he will explain you the little programs we invented to reduce the rate.
So, in the crisis about the youth, we found 2 interventions which are occurring in the short term. The intervention are, what we'd like to do is basically localize the people. We know that in Europe, the free flow of people is very important. It is extremely important to the European Union, extremely important to the unity. What we'd like to do is centralize the communication as well. By doing that, it means that everywhere in Europe, we'll be able to know exactly where the jobs are needed. For instance, 3 million people are actually seeking for jobs, and we have enough jobs available for these people. 3 million people, jobs available throughout Europe. We need a streamlined tab administration. It means that in any country basically in Europe, you will be able to understand what is going on, and do your paper. We'll have home countries receive the tax on revenues. This is an extremely important point. What we'd like to do is having the tax from the home country, which is received. So basically, I'm a Spanish person. I like to go to Germany to get a job. I will pay all the other taxes in Germany except the income tax. We will go back to Spain. This is extremely important. So Spain will be able in the future to redo their economy. and a monthly contract 2, 3, 4, 5 years. The second point is talking about subsidiaries and training. What we'd like to do is subsidized by the European Union and executed by the private sector. Basically, the European Union would give money to youth people for them to go training for a new job. So we have a lot of different sectors in Europe which are lacking a sufficient skilled labor. What we'd like to do is basically paying them around 800 to 1,000 euros, so these people won't be unemployed. It would create skill and avoid a lost generation. It increases the security in the cities and the countries as well, and incentive for recruitment and help economy. This would have a feeling for these people and young people to not be letting down, and they have a feeling of out of the crisis.
So you might ask where the money is supposed to come from, and we have to jump into another topic here, which concerns the European Parliament. You know, it has its building in Brussels, but what you might not know, or what you might heard of, is that every month 766 MEPs plus 1,220 administrative staff plus a dark number of people who are maybe coming with, they are going all the way to Strasbourg. And this has an immense effect on a lot of entities that we've found out in our map. First, we have an estimated cost of 180 million, but this is only the real money that is involved. So we also have 19,000 tons of CO2 that are produced by it. And what is more important, or also very important, 2 days of their work per month are wasted because they're in the train and the railway. Plus, lobbyists, journalists come with them, maybe families, but anyways, families are for sure affected because, for example, from Croatia, the new country, there's no flight to Strasbourg. So the MEPs have to already leave on a Sunday, which will destroy their family life, or at least have a big impact on it. Health can be also a very big issue by always being on the run. And one of the things in Strasbourg is that the buildings are not as big, so the facilities are very cramped. So you can't really work, you have to carry your stuff. This is not a good thing. 77% of the MEPs were asked, no, 100% were asked, 77 said they don't want this anymore. So this leads us to the single seat campaign, which already exists, and in our opinion has to be conducted very fast. The problem is we need a treaty change, because the reason for this is enshrined in the Treaty of Lisbon, and France is against giving up Strasbourg. So we came up with a long-term solution for it to satisfy France and also to solve this problem, which Mohammed will show you now.
We'll meet the European Institute of Technology. So basically, Europe needs a symbol, a big symbol, and they need a big university. They have the space needed, and they need innovation. So we came out with the MIT model. Basically, MIT since 1946 or something like that, they created $3.2 trillion from their alumni. Plus MIT created 3 million jobs in 2010 in the United States. Alumni network, like enterprise from the MIT. We need the innovation for that. That's why we have the perfect place for that. We have Strasbourg. We have all the infrastructure needed already there. We have the buildings. We are near CERN in Geneva. We are near Munich, which is a tech hub in Europe. We are near London. We are near the big French engineering school. So Europe needs a grad school for innovation in technology. Good. And we have the space for that. So now we will come to the international perception.
In the build up to our group work, we contacted several politicians from all over the world, and we have 2 replies from Singapore ministers, cabinet ministers. And they generally see no light at the end of the tunnel for European Union. One is because it is so bad. It is neither of 20 countries, 24 official languages, and there is no single entity powerful enough to make decisions. Next. If you do a Google Europe news, you will get mostly negative results. Our research showed that negative news will influence the society perspective of Europe and also you will influence the global audiences. And you are backed by the Harvard Business School and also the London School of Economics. So before this class, how many of you, including the Europeans, have heard of the European Parliament? They actually have this big budget for the media, but it is not effective. So next one. Okay, our group proposed to measure the effectiveness of marketing and communication and reallocation of the budget for media and also address the bias in the newspaper. Increased confidence will that positive news will lead to increased confidence for the Europe and also the international audiences, which will attract foreign investors and the FDIs. Yeah.
So, this is the last part. You're wondering where do we get all this money from, and you're wondering how are we going to do that? Basically, that's pretty simple. When we complete it, the budget must provide the services we have promised to our constituents, basically to the citizens and all the people in Europe. What we would like to do is, this is the budget for the European Union. This is a budget which shows unsustainable to us, sustainable to different reward and development. But we would like to make it easier so people would better understand it. We'd like to identify the budget according to the crisis. So there you go. This is our map. That's basically the map we came up with. And we came up with two solutions, a non-sustainable one and a sustainable one. This is basically what it looks like. We have 42% non-sustainable and 58% sustainable. This is basically everything. This is the non-sustainable. You're wondering what it is? It's basically agriculture, then subsidiaries, and the promotion of local products. It costs to Europe around 50 billion euros every year for the agriculture and basically everything which is we consider non-sustainable. To give you a few numbers, this is only 5% of the total workforce. 1.6% of the total GDP in Europe, which is extremely low. It's 12,000 euros per farm in Europe every year as a subsidiary. And it's 42% of the total budget, which is huge. So here comes our intervention. We'd like to reallocate some of the resources. We're discussing basically, and we came up with a number which will be roughly 5%. 5% of the resources will enable us to actually invest in the education. Education is only 0.8% of the total expenses in Europe, in the European Union. And of course, the youth unemployment and sustainability. So most of this money will go for the youth in Europe. The reason is we need a long-term investment. So by cutting this down, we'll be able to do so. We promote innovation and training through the EIT. And we enforce rival technologies through the EIT and the different ideas we have proposed. But also, we'd like to better manage the resources, such as we're talking about the EIT, which the single seat policy. And we would like a future budget which increase in the future. It has increased every year since the last 6 years. So in conclusion, we'd like to focus on the people. The people we believe is extremely important, the human people, the humanity, the citizens in the country of Europe, in the European country. And a strong message to the citizen. And we'd like to create a unity, which is one of the main points we try to target through the media, through the EIT, and with a European symbol. So I'd like to finish with a quote. Like constructing a lifeboat while drawing in the sea. That's exactly what we're trying to do. Europe is going down, but we'll put them back on track. Thank you.